Hi everyone, and welcome to this introduction to computer programming. There's nothing fancy here. We're not going to see any nice pictures. We're not going to see any animation, sound. We're not making computer games. This is an introduction to the fundamental concepts of computer programming and will be useful, I hope, to students who are studying computer science at high school, or maybe their first year at college or university, maybe studying AP Computer Science or something like that. So I'm using Eclipse, and we will be coding in Java. And I'm just going to introduce you to a very common line of code. In Java, system.out.println, okay? And this allows us to display information on a computer monitor. So I'm just going to put in a little message, hello, and if I run that, boom, in the console window, this is the output of this computer program. Now, let's change that println to just print for a moment. I'm just going to explain something here. I'm going to copy that, paste it in here, and let's just add to that message and run the program. So now we've got hello, nice to meet you. Actually, I would like these two lines of output to appear on different lines. So hello, and then a new line, nice to meet you. To make a new line, don't use the print statement, use println. And if I run that, this time hello is displayed, and then the cursor goes to a new line and waits for the next line of output, which is nice to meet you. And let's just put in a question. And let's run the program. So again, hello uses a println statement. So hello is displayed, then we get a new line. Nice to meet you uses a print statement. So we just stay on the same line for the how old are you output. Okay? So if I want to put things on new lines, I need to use println. So let's do that. Okay, let's continue this crazy little program. System.out.println. I am 43 years old. Okay. Now what I could do is try to figure out how many months I am old. I'm 43 years old. Could the computer figure out how many months I am? So system.out.println. I am, that's the end of the text for the moment. I'm now going to shove in a little calculation. 43 years multiplied by 12. And I'm going to finish that sentence with some more text. Don't worry if this looks a little bit confusing at the moment. We'll talk about it and it will become very clear. Let's just run this program. Ooh, an error exists. Cool. Oh, we have a syntax error. Syntax is like the grammar of a computer program. If you mess up the grammar, you're going to get a syntax error. And it's suggesting to me that at line 15 in my code, I need to insert a semicolon. So let's go to line 15. Yep, there's an error there. Let's insert a semicolon to fix the syntax, to fix the grammar. And I've got the same problem on this line as well. So let's run the program again. Hello, nice to meet you. How old are you? I'm 43 years old. I am 516 years old. Okay, so we need to change that to months. So here we have some text inside quotation marks. Then I'm going to concatenate a calculation, and then I'm going to concatenate a final bit of text. into my output. So this is how Java builds sentences that include calculations. Okay? Now, what I'm going to do is continue that into days. So there are about 30 days in every month, so let's just multiply that by 30. This is an approximate figure, and let's just copy that. There are 24 hours in a day, so let's just multiply that by 24, and we should be able to calculate the number of hours. And we're just going to do it one more time, just to be really silly. We're going to copy all that, paste it in, and we're going to multiply that by 60 to find out how many minutes old I am. Okay? So if we run this program, I'm 43 years old, which means I'm 516 months old, which means I'm about 15,480 days old, which means I'm about 371,520 hours old, which means I'm 22,291,200 minutes old. Absolutely sensational. Okay? As you can see, we're simply building up an output string. This is text. We concatenate a calculation, and then we concatenate a final bit of text using double quotation marks. Now, this is all very good, okay? But I'm just going to give you a little issue here with my computer program. What happens when I become 44 years old? In this computer program, I'm going to have to change 1, 2, 3, 4, and this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines of code when one piece of information changes. Now, this is a very simple computer program. What if there were 1,000 lines of code which relied on this piece of information? I would have to change 1,000 lines of code. Okay? So let's just do these 5 right now. Oh, what a waste of time. There must be a better way of managing data. Well, there is. Let's just go to the very top of my program here. The number 44 is an integer. It's a whole number. And how about creating a little memory box in computer memory which can store that integer for me? So I'm going to call that memory box my age. Then, now that I've created a little memory box which is going to store an integer, why don't I put an integer into that box? So this little area of memory here, which I'm going to call a variable, it's an integer type variable, and I'm storing the number 43 inside that memory area. Now what I can do, in my calculations here, I can simply call that memory area, that variable. The program will look into that memory area and pull out whatever data it can find in there. And currently, that data is 43. And let's just remake this output. So I'm going to concatenate my age into that output, and then concatenate a little bit of text to finish the expression. My age is a variable currently storing 43, so I am 43 years old. So let's just run that to see if the code works. Yes, it does. I'm 43 years old, I'm 516 months old, etc. Now what happens when I become 44 years old? Well, easy peasy Japanesey. I simply change that 43 to a 44. Everything else will be updated accordingly because we're storing that data in a variable which I've tagged with a name. I've called it my age, and then I'm using that name to access that memory location and pull the data out for my computer program. So if I run my program, everything is updated. I'm 44 years old, I'm 528 months old, etc., etc., etc. Okay? I'm also going to include a height. Now my height is 165.2 centimeters. As you can see, this is not an integer. This is not a whole number. In Java, this is a decimal number, which is known as a double. So I'm going to set up a little piece of memory called height. This variable, this area of memory, which is a variable, will store doubles. And an example of that is 165.2. So let's just extend this line of code here. I am 44 years old, and we're going to concatenate whatever height is storing into that sentence, and then just finish it with a bit of text. And if we run that program, I'm 44 years old and I'm 165.2 centimeters tall. So this is an introduction to a simple program in Java. We're looking at how to output text using the print or the println statement, and we're also looking at how to incorporate calculations into our output. Finally, we're having a brief introduction into how we can create little memory boxes called variables and then assign data to the memory box. And in our program, we can look into the memory boxes and pull out the data. Okay, have a go.